What is up, you guys? It is your girl Allie Bug, or Allie, whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your pickle for a nickel. Here on this channel we do all kinds of things, and today I am cooking again. So there were these crab legs that were on sale at my local market, and girl, they were, let's see, I paid $12.69 plus tax, and it's about 1.27 pounds of crab legs. So not a lot, but we're making this in tandem with some shrimp and pasta and some salmon. So it's gonna be delicious, and I've got some asparagus that we're gonna hook up. So come take a look with me in my kitchen. So right now I've got some water boiling. I've got the oven preheating. I've got a pan over there on top of the microwave, and it has been nice and oiled down. So I'm going to wash my asparagus, cut it and season it, and throw it on the pan and throw it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes depending on the tenderness. So stay tuned. So right now I've washed my hands before I started filming. I have some asparagus that I'm just going to kind of go through and rinse. And I have mentioned this in my other video, but in case you didn't watch it, and I'll link it below so you can go ahead and watch it. Salt doesn't just curate meat, it can actually curate your vegetables too. So I read a while ago, when I say a while ago, I mean, you know, thousands of years ago, medieval times, besides using salt to curate meat, they would actually use salt to curate and clean, you know, help clean the pesticides off of the vegetables. So I don't know if that's really true or not, but I like to believe that it is. Maybe I'll look up an article, and if I do while I'm editing, I'll include that below as well. I like a little bit of history, you know, when I think about things and want to know more about them. So after I get done washing these, we're going to cut these down. Pretty looking asparagus. It's a close up. Nice and pretty. Let me know in the comments below if you guys like asparagus. Let's put a little bit of water. Paper towel to clean that up. Let me know if you guys like asparagus. I personally love asparagus. I think it's a really good way to introduce kids into it. I remember as a youngin', the first vegetable I got brave enough to try, you're gonna laugh at me. When I say youngin', I'm already young, but I was 19. I was already living on my own. And my roommate was like, girl, you've never tried asparagus? Like, you've got to try it. So she made me some, and like ever since that time, I've loved asparagus and kind of been experimenting with what you can season it with. So let me know in the comments whether you like it and how you like it. So I'm splitting them up into two sections here, and I'm just basically going to try to line up the bottoms all the end here, and I'm going to cut about 2 inches or so from the bottom. Go like that, and put them back in the bowl that they were in, and do the same thing with your second batch. So you want to push them down to where they're even, and using your knife to kind of even out the bottoms there, the stems. Like I said, about, you know, eyeball it, 2 inches or so. Notice how my hands are clawed, like my thumb is in. That's kind of what they teach in culinary school. The best way to not cut your thumb off. And like a lot of times when I have onions I'm cutting, I like to do like a bear claw. But you basically want to do this. The reason being is because when you're doing that, it creates a flat surface against the knife, so it prevents, you know, cutting. So even if, you know, it would be really hard for you to cut yourself because of the flat surface. Alright, so our oven's beeped, it's preheated, so we're getting ready to season our asparagus, throw it on the pan, and throw it in the oven. We have some pasta today. It's basically penne pasta, but I mean, I don't know, this is mistacchioli. I don't know if I'm saying this wrong, so if I'm saying it wrong, please correct me in the comments on my Italian viewers. Mistacchioli or mistazioli, but interesting name. They definitely look really nice. This is the Walgreens brand. I literally got them from my job because they're cheaper, and I didn't want to go to the grocery store. This is like a few days ago, so I've been preparing for this meal for a couple days now. So I'm just gonna shift you over here so you can watch. Oh, without my ring light falling over. Let's not do that, thank you. And I have already added salt to that and put some oil. Normally I rinse the pasta like I would rice, but I just am lazy. Alright, so we're back over here. So I'm just gonna keep it simple with the asparagus because you don't want to overdo it. So just a little bit of Italian seasoning that my dad's got in here. And I kind of split these up so that the seasoning gets on all of it. rub it in. A little bit of Cajun seasoning, literally a little bit, don't need a lot. I'm gonna put some Parmesan cheese on it as well. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil. And I say a little bit because there's already oil on the pan, so we don't need a lot. Every time I season something, I'm like always sneezing. It's so bad. I'm gonna get my pan. Just yeet. Kind of even everything out. Okay, so next I'm gonna cut up some green onions. Green onions for me are, I like the taste, I like the smell, I like the color. For me, it's simply a garnish. This is not a necessity for this recipe. I just personally really like green onions, and any excuse I have to put them on something, I will put them on. So I'm going to literally grab a little ramekin. And just kind of cut these up into little pieces and eat them in there because we're gonna throw them on top of the shrimp and pasta. I'm going to wash these crab legs. I'm going to give them a quick wash, put some salt. These really don't really need to be, boiled or anything. These probably just need to be heated up in the oven, to be fair. So I'm going to keep it real simple. Rinse. Some salt. Just submerge under there. So I've got a deep dish pan here and I've oiled it up, and we're just gonna yeet them in there. Organize them. It's a mess right now. Alright, once you have them the way you want them, just season it. And I'm gonna be very generous with my seasonings because let's go. Raw crab legs. You literally cannot go wrong with that. Some Cajun. And I'm gonna add chunks of butter so that it creates its own little sauce. I know it's coming, I can feel it. There's garlic, some onion powder, and the other one. Oh! Alright, and then some garlic. I guess I'm being generous because what's going to happen is I'm going to throw chunks of butter in there, and it's going to melt, and it's going to mix with the Cajun, the Italian seasoning, the garlic, and it's going to be delicious. It's going to be delicious. Cut this chunk off, cut another, cut it like in half. I'm just going to throw them in between. This is what it's going to look like, and we're going to just throw it in the oven, and I'm actually going to cover it. Alright, so I've got the shrimp that I've been washing in this red bowl, and I did wash it in between takes. I'm going to empty out all this water. I like to normally take the tails off, but my dad actually prefers the tails on, so I'm leaving the tails on. I mean, I can take the tail off, and I can help Peyton take his tails off of his shrimp. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm just leaving a little bit of water in there so that we have some liquid when we go to throw the seasonings in there. So first, this is always a must for any seafoods, meats, or veggies. I didn't put this on the adobo because we were already putting stuff that was salty, you know. You don't want it too salty. Especially with shrimp, you definitely can over-season shrimp very quickly. So I try to keep it very like shake, shake, boom, done, you know. Now with the Cajun, you know, that's flavor. Alright, so I'm about to strain the pasta. We just take the pasta off the stove. I've got the shrimps here, seasoned with adobo, Cajun, Italian seasoning. I added some minced garlic and rosemary, as well as some butter. And I've got the pan prepared. Just gonna give this a quick little shake. Matter of fact, make sure all that's mixed in. It's a lot of shrimp. Make sure all the seasoning gets in there. Everything. And I'm going to cover this so that make sure everything is cooked. I'm going to lower the heat on that too, because it definitely needs it. So I got that on medium heat, about a 6, covered. I'm gonna let that start. I'm gonna drain. All right, so I got the pasta. I'm just gonna strain it, trying to not burn myself. Let's go. All right, so I got the pasta. I'm just gonna strain it, trying to not burn myself. Let's go. And I'm gonna just rinse this bowl that we just seasoned the shrimps with. Okay, so we got that there, and then we're gonna put the Alfredo sauce in the pasta and season the pasta. Okay, so we had to do a little improvising because your girl ran out of Alfredo sauce. So, little hack, you can make your own Alfredo sauce. I'm pretty sure you know. You're supposed to use heavy cream. We improvising, okay? We ghetto-fizing, okay? Ghetto fabulous, hello, hi, this is what we're doing. So water, milk, I'll put some Italian seasoning, a little bit of adobo, pepper, garlic powder, and I'm about to add some flour. You could pretty much add flour or like, what is that shit called? Cornstarch to thicken it. It's a thickening agent. You can use egg whites. There's a lot of different things you can use for thickening agents, but you'll learn that. I learned that in culinary school basically to just improvise, and you can make a meal of literally anything. That's how I survived college, because I knew how to make homemade bread rolls. I knew how to make bread. That shit saved my life. Rice and bread for years. So I'm about to just add a little bit of flour. I'm adding flour and whisking it in. Trying to thicken it up as much as possible. You have to keep stirring because with milk, something about when you heat up milk, girl, you don't want it overflowing. I'm gonna turn the heat down to 6. We gotta check on our shrimps because they're getting bubbly up in there. I'm gonna add a little bit more flour, and I think that should be enough. That was like 3 generous pinches of flour. Oh shit. Oh no, please. I hear you bubbling. Chill, bro. Lower the temperature on our shrimps. Keep whisking with the milk. You don't want it to clump up the flour, so you want to keep whisking as much as possible and keep the motion going. And then we're gonna add the cheese. All right, so with the sauce, I'm just monitoring it right now because I just added the cheese. You can kind of see. Very creamy, but now it's really important that you don't let it sit so that it doesn't stick to the sides. So keep stirring. Be careful not to make it go over the sides. Very creamy. And make sure the cheese melts really well with the milk. And you'll be here for a while stirring, but you'll see the consistency. It'll come around. this might be a little too, we might have to add some more flour to thicken it up a bit. So I'm gonna add, I'm kind of eyeball it and just use like a spoon or something to spoon it in. So do like 1 scoop. Mix the flour in. Alright, so right now I got that going. I'm letting it, I turned the heat up a little bit because I want to get some bubbles going. You want high heat for this while stirring to create a nice creamy consistency. This takes a minute, but it is well worth it in the end. I did want to take a moment to pause and admire these beautiful sauteed shrimps. I mean, just look how gorgeous. So we're gonna cover these. I'm actually gonna leave them uncovered, but I'm gonna turn the heat up also to kind of fry them a little bit. The heat's coming up on this, so I gotta be prepared to start stirring because the cheese, I can already feel the cheese kind of settling at the bottom. You don't want that, you want to keep mixing. I did go ahead and add 2 additional spoonfuls of flour, so that's about 5 tablespoons of flour that I've added to try to create like a gravy-like consistency. But keep in mind when you're adding more flour, add more seasonings to keep the flavor like balanced. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. This has definitely gotten a lot thicker. So I'm gonna let it sit and keep stirring intermittently. While we do that, let's check on what's in the oven. So our crab legs should be about done. Oh yes, beautiful. Beautiful indeed. A little close up there. And then our asparagus. Oh yes, nice roasted. I'm about to put some butter on these bad boys. Yes. Those turn the oven off. So we're really just waiting on the sauce to thicken, and then everything will be ready to be plated.